Okay, let's do this thing.
So I'm going to start off with our, I kind of usually do this towards the end of the session, but I thought it'd be nice as a mobilisation. So we're just going to flow through the lunge hamstring stretch stuff. So come down onto your mat and then come to our usual 90-90 kind of position with the back toes are tucked under. And all we're going to do from there is sink back into your hamstring stretch. It's your choice. You can keep the toes tucked and allow yourself just to sink. It gives your toes a stretch. If that's uncomfortable, by all means flatten your foot out, but you'll just have to hinge a little bit further to find the hamstring stretch. So you hinge it forward to find the hamstring stretch, and then we're going to come through and we're going to come into our lunge stretch. We're going to reach the arms up. We're just moving nice and slow to start with. Push down into the front foot, come to standing balance. So you're going to come all the way up to balance, and you want to see how high you can lift the leg. So you want to get it as high as you can, and that puts this leg in extension. So your standing leg is squeezing the glute, and then we're going to step back, reach the leg back, come back down to lunge, and then sink back into your hamstring stretch. And then we're just going to flow through it a little bit quicker. So as you come forward into your lunge, lift the arms, come all the way up into balance with the arms up. Hold just briefly and then take a step back, lunge back down, circle the arms around and come back to your hamstring stretch. Same again, coming forward, sweeping the arms up, coming all the way up to balance. Sweeping the arms back as you come down and sinking back into your hamstring stretch. You do whatever you want with the arms, they're kind of just there, really. The main part is this. So as you come forward to lunge and you reach the arms up, it just adds to the stretch slightly. Coming up into balance, wiggle, and then stepping back, coming back to your lunge and then sinking back to your hamstring stretch. One last time on this side, up with the arms, up into balance, hold briefly, step back, back to your lunge and then back to your hamstring stretch and just leaning forward. And then from there, come back to the 90-90 position. And you're going to come forward, you can plant the hands, you're going to use your body weight to really push the knee over the ankle. So I'm keeping the heel down. I'm using the weight of my body. I'm literally leaning on my leg to lengthen out the hamstring and calf. So all you're doing is holding, try to keep the heel really planted into the ground, getting this length through the Achilles. And then keep your body where it is, pick up your back leg and push back to stretch the calf on the other side. So try to press the heel down on the other side. And then sink back down, and then we'll switch sides and repeat. So opposite side, 90-90 or thereabouts. Toes are tucked. Once you've got your position, sink back into your hamstring stretch. Again, you can keep the toes tucked at the back or flatten the foot. This is too much on the toes. Nice and steady for the first one. Come forward to lunge, reach the arms up, and it is up rather than back. And then up to your standing balance. Lift the front leg as high as you can, squeeze the back glute, hold briefly, and then we sweep the arms around, we step back to our lunge, all the way down, and then sink back to our hamstring stretch, hinging forward at the hip, keeping the chest lifted, and then back through it again. So reaching the arms up into a lunge, up into your standing balance, hold for a beat, and then take it back, lunge down, sink back for your hamstring stretch. And again, all the way through, lunge, up to your balance, back to lunge, sinking back. And again, forward to lunge, up to your balance, nice and high with that front leg, squeeze the back glute, back to lunge, back to your hamstring stretch, One more time on this side, forward to lunge, up toes, back to your lunge, and sink it back for your hamstring stretch. And then same again, we're going to come forward, you're going to use your body weight, but put your body on your thigh. I'm going to try to lengthen out these tissues in the calf or the Achilles. And just a brief hold, keeping the heel planted, and then picking up the back leg, reach back or push back slightly, try to get the heel to the floor so you get that little bit of a calf stretch. Really straighten the knee. So the more you can straighten your knee, the more you can push back, the more you're going to feel it in your calf. And breathe. And then release back down. And coming onto our bottoms. So coming into our straddle stretch. So we're going to do the 90-90 straddle switch. So this is your straddle stretch. Legs are straight and out long. And then we're going to bend them slightly and let them come over to one side. So that's your kind of 90-90. It's not quite 90-90, it's much longer than that. You want to get the knees down if you can, and then like we were talking about yesterday, keeping the knee down and trying to sink the hip back down. So you're feeling more in the hip. If you bring the pelvis with you, you're not really getting into the hip joint itself. So sink your butt back down. And then to come back, you want to push the legs out straight first, then slight bend, and then over to the other side. And you'll probably take your pelvis with you more on one side. So I'm trying to sink my pelvis or my butt cheek back down to the floor, push the legs wide and out, slight bend, over to the other side. And you can have a wiggle in the play. You know, I'm a big firm believer in give it a wiggle. You know, you're trying to loosen stuff off. Straight legs out, bend and twist over to one side, sit into the hip. Same again, push the legs away first, bend and switch, sinking the hip down to the floor, and then you just flow. Play with it, you can go a little bit narrower to 90-90, and then go wide again. You can bend the legs in a little bit more, or you can stay with that kind of really long position, where the leg, or certainly the back leg, is almost straight. Each time you come back through this straddle position and switch in. You can, of course, use your hands if you need to. A bit late for that, I should have said that at the beginning. Keep switching. And as best you can, trying to keep dropping both butt cheeks to the floor. It might not touch. I've got one side kind of thinking about touching and the other side nowhere near. And then come back to your straddle stretch. So we can go, you can go as wide as you like, but we're going to be picking the legs up. So you're going to pick up the legs, and to do that, you're probably going to have to lean back. So you're going to lean back, lift the legs, and you're going to cross them, and then you're going to reach forward. And you're going to lean back, you're going to take them back where they came from, and then lean forward. Now the trick to this is, when you cross them, can you cross them the other way? Because I've forgotten which way it was. It's the way that feels really awful, because you've chosen your favourite way to start with. So we're just going to flow through that. You're going as wide as you can, and then crossing the legs and hinging forward. So we're mobilising into the hips, quite obviously. Switching sides each time, but you're doing it under the power of your own muscles kind of thing. And then come to a soles together position. So usually we crank our heels close to our butt, press our thighs down, we're all using our hands, and that's very passive. So we're going to make this more active. So we're going to go all the way out, and you're going to try and get your heels as close to your bottom and your soles together as you can without using your arms or your hands to crank things in. Yeah, so try and press your knees down to the floor. Try and stay as upright as you can, under the power of your own kind of muscular power in your legs, rather than cranking things with the arms. And then back out to your straddle position. Again, you can lean forward, have a wiggle. Back to your soles together position. Try and get as upright as you can. Try and press the knees down. And again, back out to your straddle, hinge forward, back to your soles together. Again, trying to stay as upright as you can, not easy. Not easy to stay upright. You bring the heels as close to your butt, back out, couple more. Hinge forward, see what we've got. The things are loosening off a little bit. Bring the legs in. Press the knees out. Press, 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 press. One last time. Out to your straddle stretch. Oh. And then release. Nicely done. Okay, so I did say chair yesterday. I'm conscious of the fact that there's hundreds of you here now instead of just a few that were here yesterday. So if you do have a chair of some description, great. If not, you can still do these to the floor. So I'm very quickly going to demonstrate to the floor, and then we're going to add in the chair, or the sofa, or the bed, or any kind of thing that's high enough for you to just get your butt off the floor a little bit higher. So if you're doing them on the floor, it's the same as usual. Slight bend in the knee. You can see how low this is. It's only about sort of 4 or 6 inches off the floor, not even that probably. One leg is going to be up, unless you can't manage both leg, one leg and then do both. And when you're on the floor, it's literally a small lift here. Yeah, teeny tiny lift. But when you come to the chair and do the same thing, heel on the chair, you must have a bend, but it wants to be the smallest bend you can. So when you're on the chair, you get much higher. So we're using the hamstring just to a sort of bigger range of movement, if you like. All right, so wherever you are, floor's just as effective. Chair just adds a bit more challenge and a bit more range of movement. That's all, but they're both as good. So choose your leg wisely. Okay, so here we go. We're going to lift and lower. Really focus on pressing down into the heel. There might be some work in the back of the arms to help. I can live with that. I kind of like the fact that you get some tricep work in. So if your hands are flat to the floor, press down through the entire arm, and you'll get some work into the back of the arms as well. Otherwise, we'll keep going for 3, for 2, for 1, and then we're going to switch sides. Off we go again. So keep going, pressing down through the arms, pressing down through the heel. Just have a think and make sure that your pelvis, so your waistband of your pants, you're landing sort of either in the middle bit, or you can feel your weight is evenly distributed across the back. You don't be landing on one side of your pelvis. That's 3, last 2, last 1. And release. If you need to take your legs up to the ceiling, give them a little walk, a little bit of stretch, that's okay. And bend. We're going to come back to it, so don't move your chair just yet. But you're going to come over onto your knees. Face planted them. So we've done these a long time ago. We actually did these in August, but I kind of forgotten about them until I was thinking, quads, hamstrings, quads, hamstrings. You're going to wish I'd forgotten about them again. So arms up. So with this, you want to tuck the pelvis, so squeeze your glutes, essentially squeeze your glutes, and you're going to hinge back. Trick is keep squeezing so that the hip stays open. What you don't want to do is stick your butt out, not yet anyway. So you're going to hinge back, hinge back, hinge back, and then pull yourself forward. So a big workout for the quads, but there's also that element of stretch as well. Keep going, a couple more. Good, nicely done. One more. And then we're going to add on, right? So you're going to hinge back, just as we did. You're going to go as far as you can. Then you're going to stick your butt out and let your butt come down to your heels. Now the reverse of that, I could just literally kneel back up. That's a doddle, right? So hinge, sit. You tuck the pelvis and lift the pelvis first. So I'm leading with the pelvis, and you'll know what I mean if you got it right, because it'll hurt. Yeah. So back you go, as far as you can. Sit your butt down. Coming back, it's like somebody's got a rope attached to my pubic bone, and they're dragging me up with my pubic bone, and you should feel it more in the quads as you come back up. You're all looking pretty good, actually, those of you can see. Same again, hinge back. Sit down. lead with the pubic bone. So there's that real strong glute activation, quads, everything. Back you go. Sit. Lead with the pelvis. One last time. Hinge. Sit. Lead with the pelvis to come back up. Good. And then we come back to our hamstring stuff. So again, you've got your choices. You do floor. If you've just done chair and you want to do the floor, that's okay. It's not that one's easier or harder or more challenging than the other per se. It's just a different range of movement, really. And cat. So same again, choose your leg. Slight bend in the knee. You can do both together if one's too challenging. And we go again, lift and lower. Now we're obviously constrained by time here, and as you've probably gathered over the last couple of months, I don't actually count things particularly well. You know, I might sort of say last 3 or whatever. If you're doing this on your own, you really want to be going to failure. So you want to be going to the point where that last one, you can probably hear it in my voice, I'm getting there about now. You know, I'm just starting to struggle. That'll be your last one. And that's just because I'm dictating the session. But if you're doing this on your own, switch sides. Don't start biting, you rat. So same again on the other side, lifting and lowering. So if you're doing this on your own, you go to failure, but not to the extent that you've lost form. So you still want something that looks good, as it were, but the last one should be super challenging. You really want to affect some change in the hamstrings, you've got to go to failure. Last couple, last one, and release. And again, take the legs to the ceiling if you need to. Stretch them out. You can point and flex the feet. You can go for a little walk. Stretch your heels up to the ceiling and release. We're going to use the chair again for lunges later. Again, you can do them to the floor. You don't need to do them to the chair. But for the time being, I'm going to shift it that way. Oh dear. Right, side plank. Side plank arching. We're coming down onto one side, onto the elbow. So we're going to stick with the elbow for the time being. Gives us a sort of bigger base of support. And then we'll stagger the feet. So top foot comes down in front, bottom foot's underneath. Your options, as usual, are to bend the bottom leg in line with the body. That's your 3/4 plank. If you're doing the full one, here we go. Lift the hips up. You can take the arm to the ceiling if you wish. Make sure your neck's free. In fact, it's quite a nice thing to do for your neck while you're here, is look up and look down. So the neck should be free. Stop if it makes you dizzy. Choose a comfortable place for your neck. And they're going to bend the top leg towards the chest and take it back. Now, we've already done that so far, but what about the bottom leg? And you bend the bottom leg towards the chest and take it back. Top leg, bottom leg, top leg. Well done. Release. You just rescued that very important piece of equipment from the cat. Get reprieve while the cat's being a nuisance, and then turn over. We'll try the other side. So same again. Stack the legs one in front of the other. Oh, hang on, just bear with me. There's somebody trying to get in. Oh, Mirabella, did you drop out? You're lucky I saw it. Sorry, chaps. I forgot what side I was on now. I'm pretty sure it's this side. Same thing. Lift the hips up, arm to the ceiling. You've been playing with it, good for you. And then same again, we go top leg. And then we try bottom leg. Top leg. Bottom leg. Top leg. Bottom. And then lower the hips. It's kind of tricky to get that bottom leg out, but it's just a different challenge for the hips. I'm going to switch sides. in my eye. So same again, when you're ready, stagger the feet, sorry, lift the hips up to the sky, and we're going to pause there. So you're going to take that top leg, and you're going to slide it up the other one. So my knee's kind of pointing towards you to start with, and then I'm going to open it up to the side. So knee to ceiling, knee forward, 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 take it back, lower down. Well done, good, switch your sides. We're just adding in some hip movements in a suspended kind of position, exploring what we've got. All there, marvellous. Up we come again, onto the ceiling if you wish, I can put it on your hip, doesn't matter. I kind of like it there. Slide the toe, the thigh or the calf, knee forward, knee ceiling, knee forward, knee ceiling. The cat is chewing my ponytail. Knee ceiling. Well, if this isn't I had a challenge, and then slide the leg back down, lower down. Get off! God's sake. She is well trained, honest. Switching sides. It's a good job she's small. If she was any bigger, I'd be in tatters. Right. Same thing. So we're back to where we started. Legs are staggered. Lift the hips up onto the ceiling. And you're going to pick up your top leg. It doesn't need to be high. We're just going to take it behind as far as you can without letting your hips kind of twist, and then forward in front of the other one. So it's a small arc. It's only coming down really because it's passing, or having to go up really because it's passing the other foot. You just forward and back, forward and back. And the focus really is always on the extension. So going back, squeezing that top glute, trying to get the leg behind you. Last one, bring it forward and then lower the hips down. And then we switch sides. Stagger the legs. When you're ready, lift the hips. And the top leg is going to come forward and then back. Forward and back. And you try to reach back behind you as far as you can. Squeezing that top glute back to that idea of extending the hip, getting the glute involved. Last two. And last one. Bring it back and then lower the hips down as they're done. Okay, so where are we? Crabs. What are we doing? Tongue crikey. Let's just do the crab reach just because it's a nice rotational stretch. We've not done a lot of rotation in this session. So come to crab. You want your feet slightly wider to allow the hips to come up. Butt in the middle, chest lifted. Andrew, I know this is a pig for you, so if you want to skip the arm reach, by all means. But otherwise, push the floor away, lift the hips an inch off the floor. Bring the right hand in front of the face, so it comes up. You lift the hips, you're looking up at the hand, and then the arm frames the head as you look down towards the opposite hand, and you reach into the floor with the fingertips and lifting the hips up to the ceiling. The shoulders should be stacked one on top of the other. Push the floor away with the feet in the hand, try and lift up a little bit higher. And breathing, we're using it as a stretch. A tough one, obviously. And then the head comes back, so you're untwisting the head first, and then lower the hips back down. And we reset on the other side. So get organised again. Lift the chest, chin is lifted. Push down, so lift the hips up. Bring the left hand in front of the face. Lift the hips looking at the ceiling first. And then as the head turns, frame the head with the arm. Reach the fingertips towards the floor, reach the elbow out. Breathe, see if you can lift that a little bit higher. Make sure you can see that your arm is vertical, so shoulders are stacked. Breathe, lift that a little bit higher if you can. And then head to ceiling, arm in front of the face or hand in front of the face. Lower the hips back down. Back to your crab and lower the hips. Oh, nicely done. It's like a pretzel on steroids, isn't it? So back to our, or not back to, we've not done them yet, lunges. Lunges with a chair, if you wish, or lunges on the floor. It doesn't matter, it's just different. Until we start adding some weight in, which is sort of where the real challenge lies, it's just different. So if you don't have a chair or a bed or a sofa, you're just doing normal lunges, straight up, straight down to the floor, yeah? You're doing them to the chair, grab your chair, or bed, or sofa, etc. And then the trick is to try and get your foot on the chair without falling over, because you need to be far enough away that you can bend your back leg a lot. Try to look at you guys, see if you're all set up without falling over. Okay, so when we're here, again, just as we would normally on the floor, you're going straight down. So that means this back leg has to bend. Push through the heel to come back up. Back leg bends, push through the heel to come up. So keeping going. At some point, for those of you who've been doing this with me sort of almost every day, we're going to need to add some weight into this because it's starting to get to the point where we kind of know what we're doing, but we could be here a while trying to get to that sort of failure point. Last couple. Last one. And switch sides. So you might see me, I'm not bending my back leg as much. Just bear with me one sec, chaps. Because it's hurting my foot. So, which leg did I just do that leg? So by all means, add a cushion if necessary. So, here we go again. We all set? Yeah, when you're ready, off we go. That's better. You can actually bend the back leg now. So if your foot's sort of far enough away from you at the back, she says now as the chair's escaping me, you'll find you might get some stretching the quad and the hamstring on that back leg as well, which is kind of more bang for your buck. But the focus, as usual, is through the heel of the working leg. Last two. Last one. And release. Cushion drops off. Get rid of the chair, just so it's out of the way, and coming it down onto the mat. So coming back to all fours, just some rotational stuff to finish. So you're going to thread the needle on one side, bring the back of the arm down, head comes down. The free hand is going to walk all the way around overhead, taking it as far as I can, and I'm trying to lift my top armpit up to the sky. Bring the top arm back to help you unravel. And we go to the other side. Thread the needle. Side of the head, back of the arm comes down. Walk the top arm around. And then twist the top arm a bit open to the sky. Release the top arm to use it to push you out of that stretch. Finish it off, just go toes together, knees a little bit wider than usual, out into your child's pose. Think about sinking the armpits. You can go palms up, which takes the stretch into a different part of the shoulder. You might get more sort of stretch into the lats rather than just kind of sagging into the shoulder. So you can even go palms up, which alters things as well. So rather than it just being a kind of floppy stretch, you'll find that you get a little bit more work into the back and the sides. And just breathe and hold. And release, unless you want to stay there. If you've got time to stay there, it's kind of nice. Oh, nice to see you all, chaps. Well done. We're coping. We're coping. Week 3. All right, I'll see you tomorrow, everybody that can make it. See you later.